Welcome to the Boone Podcast. I'm Bret Boone, and today on the program, I'm joined by an Olympic champion. She led the Arizona Wildcats to the College World Series championship in 2001, and she's pretty much been the face of women's softball for the better part of the last 20 years. More importantly, recently, I took Jennie deep in a celebrity softball game when I was up in Seattle. So that's my claim to fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennie Finch. Jennie, thanks for coming on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And you had to go there, right?
Well, it's my okay. I got to come clean with you. 1996. Okay, this is before you're even in college. I'm playing for the Reds. I get a phone call from the Reds, and it's myself, it's Barry Larkin, Hal Morris. And they said, "We want you to come to Disney." And this is when we first started to notice women's softball, that Olympic team with Dot Richardson. What was the pitcher's name? Lisa Fernandez?
Lisa Fernandez, yes.
So they said, "We want to do a little exhibition." So I said, "All right, I'll do it." So we go down there and I think it's going to be fun and we're going to play around. Well, she's not playing around. And I get into the box. And I mean, I tried not to pretend like I was trying too hard, but I mean, you've seen it. She kind of humiliates me a little bit. I strikes out Larkin. Hal Morris comes over to me and he says, "She's not going to strike me out no matter what." So Hal gets up on the bat. He puts it in play. We go about our business. Everybody claps. It's great. So fast forward, 2004, I think, is when you were going around to all the teams. And I hear Jennie Finch is coming to Seattle to our spring training. And they're trying to get me to hit. I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I've already learned my lesson. I'm not going out there." I think Mike Cameron came out and you struck him out. Am I accurate on that story?
He did, yeah. And actually, so they wouldn't let me face any players. And so Bob Melvin came out and he tried to hit. And then Mike Cameron just like walked out of center field and was like, "Give me a bat. I want to try to hit." And so, but at first, like everyone was so against it because obviously spring training, people are just getting back. Like the last thing you need is an injury from trying to hit a fast pitch softball. And so, yeah, he started the whole tour of facing major leaguers.
And I think because we were talking about it, Cammy still to this day is one of my best friends, and we were talking about it when you were coming. And I said, "I'm telling you, Cammy," and he doesn't care. You know, Mike and his personality, he doesn't really care. I said, "I'm telling you, I am not going to allow her to embarrass me," because I said it's embarrassing, and you will get embarrassed because it's a different animal than we're used to. And Cammy, okay, he doesn't care. He's like, "No, man, I want to go out there and give the girl a chance." I said, "Give her a chance. She's giving you a chance." When it comes to baseball, and a lot is said. Toughest thing in sports is to hit a baseball. Consider that's what everybody likes to say. I tend to agree with that. But how hard is it to hit a softball at your level, not the slow pitch, but real, fast pitch? And what adjustments could I make could you teach me to hit a softball? How would I do if I trained to be a softball player?
Well, I mean, obviously you have the basics, the fundamentals, the power, all of those things, and the hand-eye coordination. So I think, like, to my advantage going in and like facing Major League Baseball players, it was first off, I feel like the ego, testosterone, all of that is flowing. Like you want to just not just make contact, you're trying to, go yard. And so I think that's to my advantage there, right? The bigger the swing, the more advantage it is for me because by the time I release the ball, I'm at like 38 feet. And I think obviously I stuck with the rise ball only because baseball players are used to a downward angle where we have the rise ball that goes up. So they're not used to kind of tracking the ball for that. And so I would just say shorten up, choke up, and like less is more. Just basically get the barrel there. And especially these days. I mean, the barrels in these bats are so hot. I mean, my daughter's 10 and I coach a travel ball team and it's like, man, it's crazy. The like bats make a huge difference. And if you just get the barrel there, nowadays it's going to go. So it's just a matter of, staying short, being quick and, making contact and letting the bat do the work.
Did you have fun at that time when you were going around? I know you struck out Pujols. I think you faced Piazza. Was it fun coming in there and just kind of letting them know real quick? And I know, believe me, I know what goes through our minds as players because we come there, we really have nothing to gain. but at the same time, we know that we're not used to that velocity from that distance. And it's just a different animal. It's something we'd have to work on. But did you have fun doing that? I think the players, for the most part, yeah, we get embarrassed a little bit, but I think it's for good. It's good entertainment. I think it's good for the game in general, softball and baseball.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like just being a female athlete, you weren't exposed to very many other professional female athletes. And so I feel like that was honestly, like, obviously behind 1996, the Olympics, that fast pitch was a part of the Olympics for the first time in 96, and it was in Atlanta. So I think that helped the game grow in the US. But just being able to kind of, like, yeah, you can see it, but it wasn't on TV very much. And so if you go to a game, you realize how fast it is and how the ball moves. But I'll never forget Alex Rodriguez standing in there and being like, "That's a Randy Johnson slider." And so, just in a way, not that we as a sport needed the credibility, but I think it gave us the credibility, and just basically showcased what we can do from the mound and underhand, and how we can make the ball move and at what speeds it does come in. So in a way, it kind of, was a great way to showcase our game and grow our game. And I think too, just for young girls to be able to see, a girl throwing a ball underhand and having the stage of being around major leaguers and, getting the feedback from, the best of the best in the world, in the game.
No, I think it's really cool. It's been great for women's sports, and as a baseball player, I did start to pay attention to that '96 team. I remember Dot Richardson, and she was a character, and I remember watching those girls and watching them win the gold. And then you came along, and I remember watching you in the College World Series. I'm like, who is this girl? And then all of a sudden, we had Monica Abbott on the program recently, and she took it from there. So I mean, you've been a big part of it, but from '96 till now, it not only did you put it on the map, but it's been kind of mainstream and a cool thing for young girls. I want to talk about, I'm a father. I've got 4 kids, and you talk about the pressures of sports and young kids growing up. And my son's in the minor leagues, and he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, and he doesn't show uh, that the pressure gets to him. I'm sure it does, though. When I was coming up, I had it, but I didn't really feel it that much. I just kind of, I was I was different. I was a naive kid. Let's put it that way. It's nobody was going to get in my way, and I was going to get to the big leagues. But I want to talk about the women's side. I have a daughter. My oldest daughter's 27 years old, and she was a volleyball player in high school, and she had an opportunity to go to a couple teams. She had a chance to walk on USC. In the end, she ended up saying, "Dad, I just want to be a student and enjoy college," which was fine with me. But nobody ever talks about the pressures of female athletes coming up. When you go out, I know you do a ton of events, and when parents come up to you and go, "Jennie Finch, I want my daughter to be just like you," that's a tall order to be the next Jennie Finch. I mean, that's not, I know uh, how special of a run you've had and a lot of good that you've done, but those are pretty lofty expectations. When you hear a parent say, "I want my little girl to be just like you," what's your response and how does that make you feel?
It's incredible just to think of how far we've come, and now these young girls are being able to. My 10-year-old daughter walked into the Women's College World Series this year, and there were 12,000 fans there, and like, to her, this is normal. And every weekend, turning on her favorite, collegiate athlete in the game of softball, and tracking her and being able to follow her, and now with the professional league as well. And so that was stuff that we didn't have. And so I just think it's amazing to see, and what the future holds for these girls that have grown up being able. I mean, you see it, you can believe it, and you can go achieve it. But us, we were kind of blind in a way. I mean, we loved the game, and we would hold on to. I mean, I remember my dad would cut out any article, whether it would be any sport. But as a female athlete, like, I just wanted to hear about another female athlete's journey, and so I was just a sponge to get any information I could on other female athletes that were able to do it at the collegiate level, and then have the opportunity to do it. In the Olympics mainly was the only opportunity after college. And so it's just exciting to see. And now with the internet and technology and all that, like these girls have so much at their fingertips. And so it's so neat to see. And even just in baseball, seeing women break through in baseball as well. And so it's just incredible to be a part of. And I feel so blessed and fortunate that I had the opportunity. And, you know, a Title IX baby, a product of Title IX, and just grateful for the impact that I've been able to have, and, you know, still fortunate enough to continue to have that and to be connected.
When you first came on the scene, let's call it around 2000. Um, here's Jennie Finch, 6 foot tall, pretty girl, one of the best softball players in the world. That's a lot of you got a lot of attention. How was that for you at such a young age? Did you embrace it? Was it overwhelming at times? And if we would have had social media back then, how would things have been different? Because I think about my career, social media when I was a kid, and I'm thinking, wow, that would have been tough for me. Now everybody, it's normal. Everybody lives with it. But how would Jennie Finch have done?
Whew, I'm grateful that we didn't. I feel like it was hard enough. And I can't imagine, like you talked about pressure. And I feel like, you know, I just, luckily I was grounded enough, I felt like, just from my family, and I relied on them a lot. And, you know, thankful to have teammates. Like, I just remember going to the Olympics in 2004 and coming home just being so grateful that I have a team behind me. You know, it was like I can't imagine being an individual sport athlete and not having the sisterhood and the teammates there to do the journey with you. And so just grateful for that. And yeah, technology, it's crazy. These young athletes are dealing with a lot. And so it's just kind of, man, you got to protect yourself, and you have to use it, but at the same time you have to be smart and make sure that it's, you know, pushing you in the right direction and not the wrong direction. Because I know for just, man, what it does to, like, just as an adult, you can get caught up in just the stupidest things or waste so much time and worrying about, you know, so many other things. I'm thankful that I just got to worry about, you know, striking out hitters and, you know, not having to track every little thing that I do, as the athletes have to deal with now.
Advice to kids when they come up to you. Jennie, give me some advice. Parents, give me some advice. My advice is always let the kids be kids. Jennie Finch.
Yeah, that's good. I would say just, you know, try to be the best that you can be. Comparison is the thief of joy. And especially now with social media and just access to everything, you can get so caught up in other people's journey and what other people are doing. And I've even learned that as a mom. Like, my kids are so unique. They're different. I can't compare. I can't expect them to be, you know, I don't know. And too, they're different personalities and all of that. Like, you have to take all of that in. I love just let them be kids and have fun. And it is a game. Like, you have to have fun. So make sure that you are having fun with it. And man, if you don't have fun, what's the point in it?
It's interesting. You said you're coaching, help coaching travel ball. I did that when I first retired. I came out and I just thought, myself and a buddy of mine that we live in the same area, Trevor Hoffman, we decided, okay, we're gonna be the travel ball coaches. We had both recently retired. I coached third, he coached first, and we had a manager who was great that ran all the emails and the parents. And we thought this could be great. Everybody's gonna want to play for us. We're gonna beat everybody. Rude awakening. I remember at a certain point, Trevor looked at me and said, "What are we doing wrong?" Because these kids were coming. If they weren't playing short, hitting third and fourth and pitching at the same time, it's like we're going to take our kids and we're going to go to another. We're going to go to another team. And I just thought, wow, this is unbelievable. The parents and what they want to do. In the end, we ended up recruiting the best parents, and we had good kids that if we played our best, we had a chance at the end of the tournament to be in the mix. But it was an eye opener for me. And when and still to this day, when I talk about these kids and kids of, you know, the the males, the female, everybody, it's like you have this precious time as children where you don't have the responsibilities of being an adult and being out in the world. It's time. I think of my little league days. Some of my fondest memories to this day are little league. Like having a Slurpee, getting 4 hits, going having a soft pretzel, a Slurpee, going out with my buddies and doing whatever we did. I mean, those are some of my fondest memories. And I just think sometimes with today's what you're told, the money that's involved at sports at the highest level, and I think a lot of these parents have unrealistic expectations. Like little Johnny's going to do this and this, is he's going to make 20 million a year, and I'm just thinking, no, he's not. I coach him. He's a good player, but he's got no chance. So let him be a kid. So when he's 25 years old, he looks back and he can say, "Hey, remember when we won that, that travel ball tournament?" And they have good memories and fond memories, not bitter because I was pushed too hard or my parents wanted this for me and I didn't want that for me. I don't know. I thought it was tough. In the end, I really enjoyed my time coaching. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, but people just parents especially they need to keep they have to have a little bit of dose of reality. Like this isn't that big of a deal. This is a time to form friendships, relationships, learn how to get your butt kicked, learn how to win humbly.
Mhm.
But that's not always the message with youth sports.
Yeah, it's tough. And man, luckily we got a good group of parents, which you said is everything. Because it's like, and this is like not just, I mean, you spend more time with your travel ball team than you do your own family at times. Like when we're blowing and going during the week, we got practice, twice a week, we're getting home late. And then on the weekends, you're spent, and softball is, I think, even crazier than baseball. Like they play double elimination. So you have pool play in the morning Saturday, and then you're going into double elimination on Saturday night. So there's no like two games and then one game eliminations, seed you on Sunday. This is like the whole entire weekend, and this is just 10U. It's crazy, but you just kind of, man, you got to just I always say, like, what's my greatest piece of advice, and it's like try to maintain a balance. But it is so true in so many aspects, and especially in the whole travel ball craze, because it's a rat race. And same thing, like luckily we got a good group of parents, and man, we're just trying. I'm like, my goal is for them to want to play high school
Right.
and be able to play high school and have fun and love the game. And if anything after that, it's all lanyard. Like that's a bonus. That's a win. So we'll see. Like you said, it's those life lessons, and you don't realize it until you're older. But man, like you learned so much: failure, discipline,
Hmm.
sacrifice, leadership, teamwork. Like those things that are the things that you're going to take with you in every area of your life and forever. And so that's just trying to raise good people and, show them that hard work does prevail. And you have to go with the grind, the highs and lows, and consistency is huge, I think, in the game and in life, and just trying to maintain that.
Yeah, I know personally, I learned a lot more from my failures than I did from my successes. So later on in life, later in my career, when I was having a lot of success, it wasn't, I could enjoy it. And I didn't take it for granted. Like, man, I've been at the bottom. I've had some tough years and I've had some great years. So it took me a while, but in the end, it's like, okay, we're not too high. Too high doesn't mean get too high and then the lows are lows. If I can keep that even keel. So yeah, when you win a game, when you're kicking butt, when you're personally doing well, I'm not saying don't smile and have a good time, but on the flip side of that coin, when you're getting your butt kicked, you've lost 6 out of 7 and you're one for your last 12. That doesn't mean sit in the corner and suck your thumb. Be a pro and give me that even keel guy. Those are the best teammates I've ever had. Were those guys that came to the ballpark and I couldn't tell what happened the day before. I mean, those are the best
Really.
teammates, and those are the guys that are real professional. You mentioned Athens, 2004. Um, I got to play on not an it wasn't an Olympic year, but 1989 with the USA team, and I was a part of that. And we went around and we played a lot of games. I got to go to Cuba. It was pretty cool. But I was wearing the USA uniform for the first time. Um, Athens, 2004. You guys win the gold medal. What was it like playing for Team USA at that point in your career? Probably the biggest profession or not professional, I'm sorry, biggest sports moment was probably winning the College World Series. Now it's a different ball game. You're playing for your country. You end up winning the gold. I'll get to that in a second, but just represent your country. How was that?
Oh, it was a dream, a dream. Like literally, I dreamed. I remember watching when I was, I think, 4 years old, and the Olympics were in LA, and Mary Lou Retton won a gold medal for
I remember
gymnastics.
her.
And that, like, I'll never forget watching her and just the emotion and the pride. And all of it, man, it was so beautiful. And so then to be able to put that USA jersey on was a complete dream. And then let alone to do it with women that I looked up to. Lisa Fernandez, I was in her autograph line. I was a bat girl for UCLA one weekend, and I got to be, you know, her bat girl. And now, like, we're sharing a dugout, competing for a gold medal together. What a dream it was to be around just that group of women, and to train with them and to learn from them, let alone represent the U.S. But yes, you go from, yeah, representing your college is cool, and then it's like, oh shoot, like this is your country. This is the real deal. And I remember Coach took us down to Camp Pendleton, um, to train with the Navy SEALs, and we had no idea what we were doing. And he unloads us, and here we are at Camp Pendleton, like, what's up, Coach? What's happening here? And literally, we spent the day training with Navy SEALs, and like, man, talk about pressure. Like, yes, USA softball, nothing but gold. 96, 2000, they took the gold, and here we are trying to, you know, three-peat and go back, and you know, we're training 8 hours a day pretty much, for this gold medal, touring the whole year prior to. And then you're standing next to a Navy SEAL and you're like, this is not real pressure. Like, this is nothing. And so just what a reality check that was for us. It was like, and then I think too, traveling around, playing on other USA teams, obviously not the Olympic team until 2004, but just meeting military men and women all over the world, and just how grateful they are to see us. And then to see the sacrifices that they've made, and just think that, man, you get to represent that in a small way, and what a cool honor that is.
Mike Andreas, he's your coach you're referring to, correct? And
Yes,
I had him on about a year ago, and we talked about his journey through all that. And really good guy, cool guy.
he's
I
great.
know when you guys won the gold medal, I know his wife had passed away right around that time. Take me through. It's one thing to represent your country, another thing to win the gold medal, but I'd have to think, I've never been on the podium, I've never won a gold medal, but I'd have to think that when that national anthem's being played, that medal ceremony, you remember that at all? Do you remember? And coach is right there with you. And like I said, I think he had gone through a pretty horrific tragedy at that time with his wife. What did that mean to you? Do you remember? Take me back to that podium and what you're thinking.
Yeah, it was, so actually we were on our last tour stop, and that's where she fell to the ground with a brain aneurysm, and literally within 24 hours was gone. And so you go from, you know, training for this gold medal, your whole life is revolving around it. Here we are, and then it's like, boom, like this means nothing. You know, any of us could be gone just like that. And just so it was extremely, extremely difficult. And I played at University of Arizona where he coached, and so his son came in as a freshman with me, and we were, you know, best friends. And so it wasn't just, you know, losing coach's wife, but it was like, you know, a second mom to all of us. And Michael being one of my best friends, his son, it was just, man, the strength that he had to be there and to come and meet us and lead us there, was everything. And we knew that that's where Sue would want him to be at. But I just remember, you know, the flag raising up, and I remember watching that moment and hearing about that moment from Lisa Fernandez, Dot Richardson, you know, Leo Amico, and Laura Bergen, the past Olympians, and they shared what it felt like. And I just remember, like, I couldn't find my parents fast enough, and just to think about how many people allowed you to be standing there in that moment. And so many sacrifices. Like, yeah, we made sacrifices, but there were so many people around us that had made sacrifices for us to get there. And then for me too, it's just like, man, I don't know. It was like the Lord spoke to me in that moment and was like, this gold medal is just it's gonna tarnish one day. Like, it isn't everything. And so it was a cool moment for me, because it was full circle too, of like, man, losing coach's wife, you just realize, like, yeah, this was and meant so much to me, and this was my lifetime goal. But just like that, we can be gone in an instant.
2008, you go to Beijing. I don't know if I read this right. There was a quote that you said you were very disappointed that you won the silver medal.
Yeah, I mean,
and not
to say
gold.
the least, that was horrible. Oh, and it
Horrible
really,
winning, horrible winning
that,
the
like,
silver medal.
yes. And when you say, like, she won the silver medal, it's like, no, we lost the gold, you know? Um, but I think, again, like you said, you don't, I mean, I think I appreciated it for sure, but man, coming up short, you appreciate that gold medal that much more. And I just remember Coach gathered us in, and He said you need to be proud of who you are, what you've done, and most importantly, life's going to hand you a lot harder things than a silver medal. And I'll never forget that, because isn't that the truth? As hard as it is, and it's still not easy to look at, and it's not near as pretty as the gold. But yeah, and I think too is a testament too about the world was, creeping up on us, and Japan was there, and I think like people like just assumed how good we were, and we dominated, and the world wasn't anywhere near. Like no, like we were in 2004. Japan, Australia, any of them could have. Those are all close games, and so just realizing like our sports catching on, and the world is creeping up to us as well.
What do you think your biggest contribution to women's softball has been?
Hmm.
You've done a lot.
Yeah, I think just growing the game, and man, maybe I don't know, showcasing what the game's about, and what we can do. And I remember, like our off days of being on the Olympic team, like we were supposed to rest like 4 days, but here I got the opportunity to be on David Letterman, and do these things that women have never had the opportunity to do, especially in our game of softball. And so I kind of felt, or I did feel obligated. I'm like, I have to do this because, man, like I'm being able to bring attention to our sport and showcase what we do. And so it was incredible, and just trying to capitalize on it and use it for the next generation and open doors for the next generation. And I think just fight stereotypes. You feel like, oh, softball had this, kind of stereotype about our athletes, our players, and just know like, man, anybody can do anything, and all shapes and sizes. You can look any different way, and still be you, and still be great at whatever you do.
If we go back, and NIL's been big now in college sports. Could you imagine when you came on the scene what you could have done with NIL? How much would Jennie Finch have made back then?
I don't know. It's just crazy. It is so crazy, man. And I can't imagine. I mean, there were times where, man, just females can be catty, and you're trying to play on a team sport. And I always try to bring, the attention to my teammates as well, and share the limelight and all of that. But like, I can't imagine now trying to balance just that on a team, in a team atmosphere. And, she's going here, and she's getting paid this and that. And then, and, are you still putting the game first? Are you putting you first? And man, I mean, I think it's incredible, but at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot's been tainted from it too. And I feel like college sports was like the one pure thing that people held on to and loved. And now I feel like it's lost in a way. But at the same time, these athletes do deserve to be,
Compensation. No,
absolutely.
I agree with you, and I think it's been such a long-standing debate. It's like, what do
Mhm.
you do? And I went to USC, and I went over to the Coliseum like a college student every weekend and watched the Trojans play. And I watched the Coliseum pack 85,000 people into it. And in my generation, it was Rodney Peete and it was Todd Marinovich. Later to come was Leinart and Reggie Bush. And I would sit around and I think the amount of money this institution is making because of these athletes. And we get our stipends. I when I went to college, it was a full scholarship, and I got a little check, for food. My room and board was paid for, and that's all great. And I'm not saying, but I'm sitting there and I'm watching USC win the Rose Bowl, and I'm going, could you imagine the amount of money they're producing for this college, for the game in general? I'm thinking there's got to be a way. I'm not saying pay them millions of dollars, but make it so they have a comfortable, if they're contributing that much of the bottom line. But I don't think there's any perfect formula. Like you said, the NIL, it'd be great. It would be great for Jennie Finch. She's going to make a lot of money. But like you said, you're looking at your teammates, you're trying to bring them into the mix. And is there that cattiness? Does it get to a point where it affects your team? I think about that being the quarterback, the stud quarterback, going to be the number one pick in the draft. What about that guy that's hiking him the ball that's not going to get drafted? Is he gonna
Yes.
is he gonna have a Is he going to have a problem with it? You would hope not, and you'd spread it around as much as you can. But obviously, the center's not going to make the NIL deal that the quarterback's going to make. So I just don't think there's a perfect system, and there's a lot of flaws to it, and I don't know how you work it out. I just don't have the perfect answer.
Well, and I think you mix in the transfer portal with that, complete
Oh,
disaster. It's like,
yeah.
wherever the money is, everyone's going to follow, and it's done.
Yeah.
It's wild. And I mean, I'm in Louisiana. LSU has the top 5 female athletes, um, that are, making, or the highest paid female athletes right now, which is great. And it's crazy too to think that, like, how are we not being able to bridge that into the pros? Like, these girls don't want to graduate because it's never going to be this good as it is now, which is
Right.
exciting. But at the same time, like, somehow we have to be able to figure out how to take that into the professional leagues and grow it to the next level.
Well, I got it. I was listening to something. Yeah, I forget who said it, but I have an answer for the WNBA. Lower the rim. Lower the rim. It'll be more
Yeah.
exciting. Then the girls can dunk like the men, and it'll be more action. That's my. I think Charles Barkley said it actually. I thought it was pretty funny. He simply
I
said
agree.
lower the rim.
Yeah.
He said lower the rim, and I said that's a great idea. Why not lower the rim?
Right.
Um, you've had a lot of endorsements through the year. You've mentioned you got to do a lot of things that like cool things that everybody doesn't get to do. You mentioned Letterman. You did. I think you did Family Feud. Um, but as far as endorsements, how did you decide what you were willing to endorse and what you just said no? Because I'm sure you had a ton of offers, ton of people coming at you. How did you decide?
Yeah. So I was very kind of, and I have to say, like, I was blessed to be able to kind of pick and choose and turn down as well if I wanted to. And I was very protective about, I just didn't want to put my name on anything. And I really wanted to believe in it if I did. And, I signed with Mizuno, which very small conservative company, which I had other offers of way bigger brands, but they were willing to, buy into me. And I think, give me the first female line from head to toe, which was really cool. And I'm still with them today. It's been I think a 24-year relationship, which is just a dream. And so I think, sometimes you just have to, pros and cons, and, be able to hopefully make sure that you believe in it, because your name is all you have. And, if it's watered down or not what you hope to, be a part of, something that you wouldn't want to be a part of, like, just, man, it's not worth it. So luckily I had a great team. I would always go back to my parents. I have 2 older brothers. They helped me too, as far as just kind of picking and choosing and making sure that I was kind of staying true to who I am. And my agent, Erin Kane, she's just been in just awesome. I first had a baseball agent, and then, she was kind of working for him, and then she took me over. But yeah, just so grateful for our 20-year relationship as well, just kind of guiding me down that road that as was never walked before. So you're kind of trying to figure it out and make the most of it, and do the best with the opportunities that you have.
That is awesome. You're with Mizuno. I was with Mizuno, and I was with him for about 17 years. I walk around. I see the game today. You rarely see Mizuno in the United States. It's
Mm.
rare. I mean, I remember once in a while they'd send me a bad order, but it was even impossible to get a bad order in the big leagues back in my time. But I always loved the glove. I remember as a little kid, you know, my dad and Pete Rose were teammates. So when I go to the ballpark, Pete gave me his third base glove when he went over to first. And I remember what it was. It was a GIC 3E. And one of the original big guys in Mizuno, his name was Kirby Bates. And he was like the original guy. And I had this glove, and I was in Little League and I used that glove. And then I got to college, and Mizuno started sending me, this certain model. Then they changed the model, and I never used from Little League to the day I retired. I used the same Mizuno glove, and I
Uh,
had a great relationship. They're so good.
they
And I
are.
talked to the players today. I said, why does nobody use a Mizuno? It drives me crazy because it's such a good product. And not only just baseball gloves and their bats. It seems like their bats were harder than the other bats, but it's like they'd make you pine for them, like call and say pretty please to send you the bats over from Japan. But they're a great company, great golf clubs.
Yeah, they are. And I think when I think of quality, especially, there's new brands popping up left and right. And like, yes, there's a ton of marketing money, but I feel like when it comes to quality of equipment, they've never, they've kept their standard high.
Yeah, they have. You did The Apprentice. Who called you to do The Apprentice? And what are you thinking when you get that phone call? And you did get fired, but
I
I
did
think
get,
everybody pretty much gets fired. All right, take me through
yes.
that a little bit.
I think I got an email from, somebody within the show, and they pitched it, and I was thinking, okay, sure. And then I'm thinking, I like, the one job I had was a softball player. Like, no other. I mean, I think in college, I like sold burritos for a couple nights. Like me and some of my teammates, they sold burritos at our stadium, and they asked us to come waitress. And so here we were. But other than that, like, I've had no other job there. I'm so not qualified for this, but why not? It'd be a great opportunity. Let's do it. And I remember it was in 2008, and they had promised me that I would have time to train and do all these things. They totally lied. It was like 18-hour days, and we were the first, I think, celebrity version, and so they hadn't done this kind of version yet. So there was a lot of, I think, obviously things that they had to work through that first show. But it was a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of great people: Trace Atkins, Lennox Lewis. What a trip! Gene Simmons. Mary, who was it? Oh my gosh, I can't think of it now. Mary.
I have no clue.
I don't know, but it was a great experience. Yes, I got fired. I think Trump said I was too nice, which I think everyone kind of said that it was his nicest firing yet, right? Because he could get a little brutal in the firings, obviously dramatic for TV. But I was just thankful that it was a peaceful goodbye and out of the board. And literally, like, I needed to go train, so it was like, I got to get out of here. And I took Casey and my son Ace. He was there with us, and gosh, Casey, like, literally, I think we got in a car that night. Like, we were driving through the night. He's like, getting out of New York City, I'm done.
Did you do Dancing with the Stars too?
I did, yes.
Now, I couldn't imagine doing that because, when it comes to athletic stuff, I think I can kind of do anything. But when it comes to dancing, you know how there's those people in the room that, whether you're at a party, a wedding, whatever, there's certain people that just no matter what at all costs don't go on the dance floor. That's me. And then there's my buddies that they really can't dance, but they have no shame and they don't care.
Right.
And they get out there and they're funny. But the dancing, singing, those are two things that it's like I just can't bring myself to do it. I don't know. I can't even be self-deprecating. I feel that stupid. How was that for you?
Oh, same. Like, literally, like, my friends that know me would be like, yeah, right, there's no way. And I'm thinking the same way, like, 6'1", all white girl, like, this is not gonna be good. And I just remember, let alone, like, well, I mean, like, I wear heels out or whatever, but like, to dance, let alone, and then to dance in heels, like, heck no. But it's honestly, if I can do it, you can do it for sure, because
You learn
it's
a lot?
just like, yes, and
Okay.
especially too, in just the correlation of, like, I don't know, my partner would always say, like, engage, like, tighten your core and, like, feel that connection from your lower half to your upper half. And and it was, honestly, it was really hard, but I think it was, yes, physically it was hard. My feet were hurting. I had blisters all over. But at the same time, it was like mentally, like, just convincing yourself that you can do it and that you belong. And I feel like just that mental toughness and the self-doubt and all of those things. And then you get out there and trying to learn and remember the steps and all of those things. Like, man, talk about pressure. That's pressure. Like, yes, when you do your sport, you're prepared, you've done it your whole life, you're ready. But this was so far out of my comfort zone. And so there was a lot of pressure going in, but it was fun. And it was fun to push myself in a different way and make myself be completely uncomfortable.
Okay. Now,
Nice.
I'm wondering about next year in Texas is where the game is. I'm thinking about playing. I got to defend the belt.
Yes, you have to.
Whose team am I? Am I going to
Hopefully we're on the same team.
I was just going to say, do I get to be on Jennie's team? Because I know you're big when it comes to the celebrity softball game. That was my first, and I'll be honest with you. I get a phone call because it's Seattle, and the last time, that's kind of my city. So I get it. a phone call to play in the celebrity softball game, and they mentioned, I say, all right, Jennie Finch is playing. I knew a few of the guys, people playing. But I'll be honest with you, when we're in that room, and for those of you watching or listening to the Boone podcast right now, Jennie and I announced the lineups. It was supposed to be, I think, Felix Hernandez does one, Jennie does the other, but Felix wasn't there. He was doing the futures game. So I announced the lineups. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm looking around the room. Uh, I knew Joel McHale. I knew a few of the guys, but I didn't know the YouTubers. I didn't know the singer songwriters that were there. I knew the athletes that were there. And I started thinking to myself, wait a minute. This is all fun and games. It sounded great a couple months ago, but I've actually got to go out in this field and play. And I had no idea what to expect. We go walking across the field right after the Futures game. There's more fans than I thought there was going to be. How many fans do you think were there? 20,000?
There was a lot. That was a good showing. Very good
Yeah,
showing.
there was a lot. Well, you've done these before. So I come walking on the field. Now somebody comes up with the microphone. Bret, what do you think? I said, well, I think this was a good idea 2 months ago. And now I don't know what it is. And I know I'm leading off. And Cammy comes up to me, goes, Booney, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I said, I kind of have to hit a homer, don't I? I kind of have to, but I don't know if I'm gonna. I have no idea what's going to happen. I haven't swung a bat in years. So you were nice enough to groove one in. You let me hit a homer. And I went through it, but after the game and walking around the city the next 2 days, because we were, as you know, it was a zoo in Seattle, and I had a lot of meet and greets that I was doing. And just the fans on the street came up to me and said, Bret, we're at the Futures game. We saw the softball game, and we didn't really know what to expect. But that was really fun, and it was entertaining. And I thought, because we do a lot of things where we meet and greet, and we got to shake hands and say hello and whatever. They are what they are. And I thought that was going to be one of those. I really actually enjoyed myself. And at the end, they gave me the belt. I thought that was really cool. I didn't even know beforehand. We were taking pictures with the belt. I didn't even know what I was taking a picture with. Then at the end to get that was cool. But I actually enjoyed my time. I had fun. And a lot of the players that I didn't know, the non-athletes that were there, they were a lot better than I expected them to be.
Me too. And that's what I think is the most fun about it. You never know who's going to be kind of like those hidden, underrated
Gems. Yeah.
athletes that just come out and kill it, for sure.
Yeah.
It's always so fun. And I think the different personalities make it what it is, and you never really know what you're getting into going in. But they always are a ton of fun. And I don't think I grooved it in. I think you would have hit anything. I don't think you've lost. I think you could play still, honestly.
Well,
That
looks
was
are
pretty
deceiving.
impressive, the show that you put on.
I'll tell you, and afterwards, I was so sore that night, and I'm thinking, I've only taken 4 swings. Well, actually, we had BP, so I took a few swings there in BP, but I limited my time because I know my back, and I can I did. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun, and we were cruising. We were whooping you guys. Next thing you know, we finished 21-19 or something like that. So
Right.
we almost
Close.
gave it back at the end. I know you're a baseball fan, and I'll let you go, but you're a Dodger fan, I think. If I heard that, am I correct there?
I am, yeah. Grew up a Dodger fan, grew up eating Dodger dogs. My mom had we shared season tickets behind third base. And so we would get to go to every fourth game or something. And there we were. My mom would bring in her little radio, listen to Vince Scully right in front of our, attach it to our seat. And yes, Dodgers all the way.
Very cool. Do you follow baseball at all? You follow it?
Honestly, a little bit, but we're in Louisiana now, and I feel like we're so disconnected. I got 3 kids, 17, 12, and 10.
Right.
So it's hard enough to know, what practice schedule I have today after school and what their game schedule is, let alone following baseball. I try, but I don't do a very good job at it.
Well, all right. Give me a crystal ball. 2023. Who wins the World Series this year?
Oh gosh,
Jennie's predictions.
I don't even know.
Well, say the Dodgers. I'll make it look
I would
good.
love the Dodgers.
They are
Dodgers.
good. They're good again. They're not, they don't have the personnel that they had a year ago, but they're tough. They've been so good for so long that people don't pay attention to them, but they're good. They're good.
Yeah, the last couple of years has been fun.
Yeah. Well, Jennie Finch, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was a pleasure. One of the greatest to ever do it, and you really do a good job in all you do. just I've watched you for years, and I've always been an admirer and thought, wow, that's a good girl that does a really good job promoting the game. I could tell, you got a big heart, and just I think you're great. I think you're great for women's sports in general. But I just want to tell you that I appreciate you coming on the show. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'll see you in Texas next year.
Yes,
And
it's
for
gonna be
all
hot.
Yes, it is. And for all you watching or listening to the Boone podcast, I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much.